Hello, what's happening? My name's Cal and today we're going to be building a color picker using Android Studio and Kotlin. There are a lot of complicated third-party plugins that you can use within your Android app which allow the user to select a color right down to the very specific hex code. However, in today's tutorial, I'm just going to show you how you can create a simple color picker which maybe lets the user select from say 15 or 30 or so colors, selects that from a spinner, and then have that ready to put into your object or change your background color or whatever it is you need to use it for your app. So with all that said, let's get started. Cool, so creating a new Android Studio project, empty activity. The project name, I'm going to call it Spinner Color Picker, and just hit finish. The first thing we're going to do is head into our main activity XML. We're going to open up our res folder and our drawable, and we're just going to say new drawable resource file, just calling it color blob, and the root element is going to be a shape. Our shape is going to be a rectangle, and inside our rectangle, we're just going to give it a solid color of purple just as a placeholder, and the corners are going to have a radius of 10 dp. Then we're going to right click on our layouts and we're going to say new resource file. I'm just going to call this one color spinner item, and the root element is going to be a linear layout. And then we're going to right click again, create another layout resource file and call this one color spinner BG, so background. And we're just going to change the root element to be a relative layout. So this view is just going to be what we show the user once they have selected a color. So just going to have a color sort of blob with the rounded corners, so the colored shape, and then with some text over the top. We're going to create a view, width and height match parent. Our background, we're going to give our color blob that we just created, so our shape. Our layout gravity is going to be center. Our ID, we're just going to call it color blob. And then we're also going to create a text view with a width and height of match parent, text of purple, text color of white, text size 20 SP, gravity center, and the ID, we're just going to call this color name BG. Cool, so let's head into our color spinner item. This is going to be the cell for each of the rows of our spinner. We're going to change the height to 65 dp, and then inside here we're going to create a view with a width and height of 55 dp. We're going to give a little bit of margin to the start, so 20 dp, and then margin top and bottom 5 dp. We're going to set the gravity to center. The background tint, we're just going to give it purple now as a placeholder, and giving it an ID of our color blob. And we just need to give it our background of our drawable color blob. Next to that, we're going to create a text view with a width of 0 dp, a height of match parent, weight of 1, and we just need to change our parent linear layout orientation to horizontal. We're going to set the text size to 22 SP, text going to give a placeholder of purple, gravity of center, text color is black, and our ID, we're going to give it an ID of color name. And then we're going to copy and paste down that text view, change the text to be a hex placeholder, and just changing the ID to a color hex. We're going to remove the weight and set the width to 120 dp. Cool, and now we can head in and modify our main XML. We're just going to add in a linear layout with a width of match parent and a height of wrap content. Margin to the top, we're going to give it 20 dp, and we're going to copy in our constraint layout constraints from our text view, and then copy in our text view into our linear layout. And then we're just going to remove the constraint bottom to bottom of, just so it sits at the top of our view. With our text view, we're going to change the text to color, text size 30 SP, text color black, and gravity of center. Our text view height, we're going to change to match parent, and then we're going to insert a spinner. Our spinner is going to have a width of 0 dp and a height of 65 dp. Our weight, we're going to give it 1. Our color text view, we just want to give that actually a width of 100 dp. We're going to set the margin end to our spinner to be 20 dp, text alignment center, and our gravity also center. Our spinner mode, we're going to choose dialog. The background, we're going to set to our color blob, and we're going to give it an ID of color spinner. Now we're going to head in and modify our build Gradle to enable view bindings. We're just going to type build features and then view binding is true, and then just hit sync on our project. And with all of our layout XML finished, we're ready to start coding. So I'm just going to say file, new Kotlin class. I'm going to call it color object. Our color object is going to have a name, a hex, and a contrast text. So all of them being strings. And then we're also going to have a value hex hash, which is just a hash symbol plus the value of our hex, as well as our contrast text hash, which is just the value of our contrast text plus a hash. Then we're going to create another Kotlin class. We're going to call this one color list, and we're just going to create a couple of static strings. First one being the hex code for black. We're just calling it black hex, 6 zeros. And then we're going to duplicate that line, create white hex, which is all Fs, so the hex code for white. And then we're going to create a function calling it basic colors, which is a list of our color objects. And we're just going to initialize our colors. So we're going to say list of, and I've actually got these pre-recorded. So these are all the different color objects with their corresponding hex, and then their contrast text, whether it be white text or black text when you select the object. Our default color, we're just going to set as the first item in our basic colors, so this would be black. And then we're going to create a function calling it color position, which receives a color object. And then we're just going to loop through all of our colors for I in basic colors indices. If our color object is equal to the current one in our for loop, we're going to return I, so the position. Otherwise, we're just going to return 0. And we just need to make this function return an int. Now we have our color objects and our list of colors that we want to show the user. We now need to convert that into our spinner. So for that, we're going to create a spinner adapter. So I'm just going to say file new Kotlin class. I'm just going to call it color spinner adapter. And it's going to extend an array adapter, and it's going to take our object of our color object. Our color spinner adapter is going to have a constructor which receives context as well as a list of our color objects. And we're going to pass that through its super. We're going to pass context, resource of 0, and our list. Cool, so now inside here, we're going to declare a variable calling it layout inflator is equal to our layout inflator from context. And then we're going to override the get view function from the array adapter. We're going to say val view is equal to our layout inflator inflate. And then we're going to give it our color spinner background. Root is null and attached to root is true. And then we're going to say return our view of our view. So we're going to create another function calling it view. Maybe could have come up with a better name, but just creating a to do there for now. We're going to also override the get dropdown view. CV is equal to our convert view. And if our CV is equal to null, meaning the convert view is null, we're going to inflate our layout. So layout inflator inflate from our color spinner item. We're going to give it the parent, and attached to root is false. And now we're going to pass into our view function our convert view as well as the position. This function has the job to set both our spinner item as well as our spinner background views. First, we're going to determine which the color object from the position is. So we're just going to say color object is equal to get item at position. And if this is null, we're just going to return the view. But that should never really happen. And then we're going to say color name item is equal to view find view by ID, which is going to be a text view. And we're going to give it an ID of our color name. And then we're going to duplicate that down, change it to color hex item as well as color name background. So there's the two different name text views, one for our item, one for our background. We're going to set the text as well as the hex item on our item. There's also a view both in our item as well as our background, which we named color blob. And because we named the IDs exactly the same thing, they're both called color blob. We only need to do it once. Color name background text is equal to color object name. We're going to set color name background text color to pass the color from our contrast hex hash. And then we're also going to say our color name item.text and our color hex item is equal to our color object name as well as our color object hex. And our color blob background, we're going to set the tint color to, we're going to pass another color, getting our color object hex hash. Cool, so now we can head into our main activity Kotlin file. We're going to declare a variable calling it binding, which is of type activity main binding. This is an await init variable, and we're just going to say binding is equal to activity main binding inflate, giving it layout inflator. I'm going to set our content view to binding.root. We're going to create another late init variable calling it selected color, which is of our color object type. And then we're going to create a function calling it load color spinner. We're going to set selected color equal to our color list default color. And from our binding, we're going to reference our spinner, which is on our main activity. We're going to say apply and then open up curly brackets. And we're going to say our adapter is equal to our color spinner adapter, passing our color spinner adapter application context as well as our color list basic colors. We're going to set selection equal to our color list, get the color position from our selected color and animate equal to false. And then we're going to say on item selected listener is equal to an object of type adapter view, and then just alt enter to import adapter view. On item selected listener, overriding the on item selected function, changing that in there to position. We're going to say selected color is equal to color list basic colors at position. This error message is just saying we need to implement some extra methods. So the on nothing selected, and we're just going to do nothing when nothing's selected. There's just one mistake I made in our main XML. Need to add to our spinner layout gravity equal to center. Cool, so let's build and run this and see if it's working. I can click on this color here and select, say, gray, and it's populated there. Yeah, so there you go. That's a pretty basic dialog spinner. If you want, you can actually change this to a drop-down mode. So you can see that that's just a little bit smaller and sort of coming from the position there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Android and Kotlin tutorial, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.